Welcome to GBIRL, the podcast looking at the real business world of esports, gaming, and streaming with the people and personalities behind it all. Here is your host, Bill the Conqueror.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. And streaming is big business. Streaming is huge business. Otherwise, Amazon wouldn't own Twitch, if you know what I mean. And I think it's an interesting conversation for us as creators to get the perspective of other people when it comes to being on a stream team, being a content creator, joining groups. Why do you join one group over another? And what is the benefit? What is that process? What does it look like for somebody who's, starting out, somebody who's been in the game a couple of years, somebody with a decent sized following? What does that look like? And I have with me today, you see him right there on the screen. He is a BonaFideHiro. I will freely admit that I am directly connected to Bona through our clan, our Destiny 2 clan called the Fundament. We have done some events together, run some things together, and I thought having Bona on today would be a really interesting conversation. He recently joined a stream team / content team, and I wanted to kind of walk through that process with him, how it looks in his life, because he's going to have a baby soon, and we'll get to that. But Bona, thank you for making time for me today, my friend.
No worries, Bill. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem at all. So let's go into a little background, set this up. You started streaming last year in 2020 in April, right at the start of the pandemic.
Correct. Yeah. Right at the start of the pandemic.
Right at the start. You figure I'm stuck at home. I might as well do something with myself, right?
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those things I wanted to. I gave it a shot a few years ago, and then I wanted to sort of get back into it. And I went through a big thing personally, like living situation. Moved from Australia to the UK 2 weeks before the travel bans hit.
Wow.
So it was one of those things that I kind of wanted to get back into, like content creation, and my previous work and my job didn't really allow for me to do any of that. So being one of those things I wanted to get back into, the pandemic kind of fast tracked that to right then and there to really get back into it. So yeah.
Okay, so right there you said you tried it for a bit, got out of it. You had a major move. I mean, it's not like you're moving across the street or across town. You're moving across the globe,
right?
Basically,
yeah,
I'm sure that was a major shakeup in your life. And now that you're firmly entrenched in the UK and you're going to have a baby soon, I'm sure that's like a monstrous life change. I would know.
100%.
I have 4 kids and a granddaughter, and like I always say, my granddaughter's not bossy. She just has good leadership skills. And so I want to kind of explore for a moment. You streamed for a bit, then you stopped, and it got back into it. What happened? What happened that made you go, maybe streaming isn't for me right now?
So it was like I used to be a part of like the Halo sort of content creator community, and actually I don't know if you've ever played Halo yourself, but there's maps you can make for custom games. And it's actually very sort of in-depth. So I used to be a part of that sort of community that would make maps. We'd play it, test it. Some of those maps may make it into like the playlists and everything that people can search and match make for. So I used to do that. And I did streaming back when Twitch kind of like really first started up.
Okay.
Nothing special, just kind of like no overlays, not really any alerts, just, a camera on you and you just show your game off. Not only was I doing that, but I was also like featuring on YouTube videos. I was, would do voiceovers, would make the videos myself, would do the content and like do the material for the YouTube videos for like a shared YouTube that would show off these maps. So it was kind of like showing what we were doing on the stream and then doing the actual YouTube videos themselves. And the reason why we stopped that was, the group kind of just fell apart a little bit, and the game kind of hit its eventual sort of premiere end, Halo 5, and everyone kind of fell off. Other games came out, and the market for it wasn't really there anymore for the game. And real life just kicks in, and that's the reason I stopped. So yeah.
Got it. So I would wager that you're pretty. I'm excited for the new Halo coming out.
Extremely. Yeah.
Even though they keep on pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back, right?
Yeah. Oh, extremely. And them pushing the game back just makes you want it more because you're like, okay, well, there's obviously a reason they're pushing it back.
Right.
They need more time to work on this. Imagine how big it is. Like you obviously see games that get pushed back. Cyberpunk, they get pushed back and then don't meet it in the end.
Right.
But for a game of Halo size, of the company and the backing it has, but the studio that's making it and the everyone behind it at Microsoft, it's got to be big. And if they've pushed it back this many times already, it means that they're still wanting that perfection, still wanting it to get there. So extremely excited.
Right, and there's something to be said for a game like Halo that some I won't say some, a lot of streamers in their early console days cut their teeth on. I mean, short of Call of Duty, the other PvP game that really gave people, I guess gave them the bug was Halo, right?
Yeah, like it was Call of Duty, Halo, and it's kind of like you either play Call of Duty or Halo, and then in between it was Battlefield, wasn't it? So
yeah, for a while.
Battlefield was kind of like the happy medium. But yeah, no, you're right. There was no other sort of, unless you're on PC with CS:GO, but we're talking about console.
Exactly.
Where, there's nothing else that would compete with those two, or three, for first-person shooters at the time.
Exactly. Okay, so you game for a while. You're mainly Halo creator. The game kind of reached its apex, and it's been stale for a while. The new Halo's coming out. So when you decided to get back into it, it was pandemic, and I mean you've really done well in just over 12 months. You're over 1,000 followers on Twitch. You have a strong presence on Twitter. You routinely get 12 to 18 concurrent viewers on Twitch, which is solid. I mean, you stream every day. So when you started that growth arc, that growth climb, what did you bring from your previous experience that you have now that you're like, I have to be better at these small details to make my stream grow faster? Because I mean, the first time you do anything, you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. Like you said, there were no overlays, no alerts. You just had a camera and a game, and that's it. And now the production values have increased to the point where you have scenes and you can buy transitions and you can build these awesome packages of graphics. I mean, it seems like the audience's tastes have evolved over time, and now it's almost like you can't just have a camera and you have to have more than that.
Like starting off, no one really knows what they're getting into unless they've done it before, and like that. Right. Starting off, and a part of what I've done actually over the past year is actually teach other people how to use OBS. And, people hire me to teach them. Some I've done as, a favor. Literally lay it all out, lay OBS out, try and convert people from one, I'm not going to name names, but change people from one broadcasting platform to the other, broadcasting software to the other. Mm-hmm. So, and to basically say, this one has more options. Mm-hmm. Let's teach you this one. And it is quite overwhelming. And I made so many mistakes in the beginning because as I said, when I did it years ago, it wasn't about being a personality. Obviously, those personalities over the years, Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, they've all like grown and their personalities come out. But when you first start, it's literally you looking into the camera, playing your game, and people are there for the game. They're not there for the personality. That's what it was in the beginning. Now, we're as much entertainers as the guy in your car radio talking about this band going on tour. is. Like we have to be entertaining the same way as that. And as you say, production value's gone up, and there is all this new stuff. So, you know, the only way to start off streaming is to put a camera on and play a game.
Okay.
And you will get, you know, that one viewer. Most, like 90% of the time, I'd have to say it would be a friend, someone you know, people you game with, family member will put you on and watch you and comment and all that. And that is literally how everyone starts off. There's no other way for it. And then it's, you know, it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of marketing yourself. It's putting clips up on socials for hopefully to other people. One of the things I had, obviously coming from that, was I wouldn't say me streaming years ago helped me out this time, because I don't think it did. However, having a presence on Instagram, on the Destiny community, in the gaming community on Instagram, definitely helped with the start of my streaming career. So, and you looking back and looking over the months from when I started, I hit a little bit of a wall and a decline, and then, you know, that's just IRL, like what real life getting in like getting in the way, not getting in the way, but like, you know, preventing you from proceeding further. So, you know, you only start to break past that wall after a certain amount of time, or when you sort of cut back on that and prioritize the streaming a bit more. So, you know, that's that. And you do see the numbers go up. Some people stream for years and they sit on the really low numbers on unfortunately 0 or 1 or up to 5. I was definitely there, and even earlier this year I was definitely there, struggling to get past 5 after coming back from my decline. You know, it's just that, but it's marking yourself, and you then do see those numbers. And not to talk about statistics or anything, but I've been seeing it recently over the 20-25 average mark for viewership. Nice. But you need to, that could decline very quickly just by changing my schedule and streaming at another time.
Right.
And, you know, finding what works for you in your community, and where in the community, larger community you're a part of, and trying to navigate yourself through that traffic. Because there's so many people on Twitch. You need to navigate yourself through that traffic and find yourself a parking space. And once you find that parking space, then you kind of sit there and you let all the leaves come over your car whilst you wait. So.
Got it. And I like that a metaphor right there. You have to weave through the traffic to find your parking space. I like that metaphor. And I think something else you said right there was really revealing, that you had a presence on Instagram before you really got back into streaming. I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall short, is that they don't realize that Twitch is just a platform in an overall strategy of YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn in some cases, Facebook in some cases, depending on where you are.
Works. Yeah.
And, right. So you come back, you kind of hit that wall, you break through the wall, you learn some lessons, you get yourself going. What was it like when you hit your first 1,000 followers?
So for me, it probably meant a little bit more, like, personally, because I don't try to focus on numbers, because what matters is the people that are, like, in there on stream, and those are the guys you need to focus on. You don't need to focus about getting more. You don't need to focus on, like, how little you have. You need to focus on the peeps that are there.
Right.
So that's what I tried to focus on for, like, the longest time. But what happened over the past few months is Twitch removed a bunch of inactive accounts and a bunch of bot accounts that are deemed to be bots. So a lot of people lost a lot of followers. I was at 960 back in March, and basically overnight I went down to 820, 810. Wow. So it was almost back to the drawing board. And what felt like the longest time, every follower you would get, you would lose 2, because Twitch was still removing inactives.
Wow.
And unfortunately, these inactives they were removing were old accounts that followed you back in the beginning that no longer view you anymore. So they deemed it as if someone hadn't visited your channel or hadn't had any activity on Twitch in 9 months, they removed them.
Okay.
And I actually knew friends that were active all the time, but they would go back to streamers, like other streamers, and find out that they had been unfollowed from their stream.
Wow.
So, you know, and it's kind of like awkward. And it's like, shit, okay, I've been following you for years or for so long. I have so many months sub to you, and now I'm going to go back and follow you, and that's going to pop up as an alert. So it made for some awkward stories.
Wow.
But, you know, for me, it was kind of like it was battling against the wave, because every time I go up, I come down overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Twitch doing its job and removing all the bots and the false accounts.
Right.
So when you finally hit that 1,000, I was kind of like, okay, wait a second, because tomorrow I'm going to lose some. I think I gone past the point of all the inactives and all the bot accounts being removed from my channel, even though I thought I'd gotten rid of most of them. There's another bot which you can use that removes accounts that followed you within a certain time frame that you give it. So if you ever get like follow botted and you get 100 follows at one point and they're just bots,
right,
you can go back to that certain amount of time and it will remove all those follows from that point.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think all that I had already done that myself and gotten rid of a bunch of, because I've been follow botted a few times. And so I'd already done that, and Twitch had done its thing, and all the inactives had gone. So now that I'm over 1,000, it's now on the incline. So it's, you know, you're going to see it drop off and fall off, especially over the last few months. But
right,
it meant more for me, because it was like kind of like, okay, that part's done. We can now focus on sort of moving forward and not looking stale. It's all about the look, isn't it? And
yeah,
some people see that on social media. It's like, yo, I've got to have all these followers, but this many people I'm following. And that's the good thing about Twitch. It doesn't show you, if you look at someone's account, it doesn't show you how many people they're following and then how many followers they got. That's the good thing about it. It just says how many followers they got. So there's no follow for follow and then unfollow sort of deal.
Right.
Yeah, which is good. So
okay,
it just went past that stale part of gaining numbers for me.
See, and some people at that point where there's the constant flux of, you know, gain 1, lose 2, gain 2, lose 4, and you start to get discouraged. And there are some people who, you know, after maybe 1 month of that or 2, they're like, screw this, it is just not worth it to me. I can't handle the emotional roller coaster of why am I not growing? I'm seeing this happen in real time, but then when I'm not on my channel, I'm losing this, and I just can't understand why. And so that speaks directly to you as a creator. You've done it once. You've gone through the emotional, I guess. You call it the emotional progression of getting over your own fear, then understanding that, you know, people follow and unfollow, and that's part of life. Then you come back the second time, and you've already dealt with that personally. You've already dealt with the highs and the lows that come with streaming, and so now you're more resilient. And I think that's a really important point to talk about right there, is that you have to cultivate that sort of a resilience of understanding what it takes to keep progressing. And then there's also the step beyond that, where, okay, I fought through that first wall of the fear of just being live, and the fear of, oh my gosh, am I not good enough at this? And now you get to the point where, okay, maybe I want to take it to the next level of, do I join a team? Do I do something larger with groups? And so the next point I really want to talk about is, you recently joined Osiris Gaming. And I think that's an interesting story, because some people kind of see that as the gold ring of, you know, hey, if I can get on a stream team, great. But I don't know if people really understand what that means. I think that there's a lot of layers to it that are it's something that's not really openly talked about, what you have to go through, and different groups have different standards and different expectations, and just because
Correct. Yeah.
just because you get an offer doesn't mean you should jump on it right away, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes. 100% agree with that statement.
So I'm sure that you've received other offers before. I'm sure of it. What was it about Osiris Gaming that made you want to say yes?
So to correct you and to
Okay.
your surprise, no, I haven't received any other offers before Osiris Gaming. And
Okay.
I did think about whether Osiris. I took a few days once I was offered, and they reached out to me.
Okay.
They do have an application sort of process as well, which people can apply for, and then they will figure out whether it's a good match for either party. But I was approached. I was recruited. And yeah, no, I'd never been approached by another other than the Fundament, which is my Destiny 2 clan.
Right.
I'd never been approached by any party to join them or headhunted. I'd never had any other offers. I put out a little while ago that I'd definitely be interested in joining a stream team.
Okay.
However, the team that I've joined with Osiris, which is a esports gaming team community, the team I have joined is their content creator team. So
Okay.
the content creators were to like put out clips with Osiris, and we have to upload clips every week. So they can do like a weekly video and then a monthly video of like highlights, and basically they distribute your highlights throughout their community. And you know, have people that rep the banner and rep the brand. So it's a win-win for both. And the reason why I said yes was they're a genuine good group of people.
Okay.
They're genuinely there to have fun. They're not about the follow for follow. They're not about the scratch your back, you scratch mine. But
Right.
you know, there is that level of respect that you keep up to the expectations. So there is a minimum viewer count that you need to have. I have to put out a minimum of 5 videos on socials across multiple platforms a week.
Okay.
So I saw that as that rule right there to be the biggest grab for me, because at the moment and up until now, it was literally 3 videos a month I was putting out, or like pictures or whatever on socials. So to have to put out 5 a week, that is something that I was like, okay, that's a challenge. That is something for me to work for. And now that these guys expect it of me, I have to do it. So it's forcing yourself into a situation where it is going to make you better, and it's the motivation you need to get the job done.
So that's really interesting right there. What you said is that you saw it as a challenge. You wanted to become a better creator, a better streamer. And so you basically said the only way for me to do this is to force myself to do it in response to somebody else's expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's an interesting concept right there as well, is that how people respond to challenges, I think is I mean, Bona, I gotta say, you strike me as somebody who doesn't have a lot of fear. Let's put it that way, because you came back to streaming. You fought through that wall of Twitch doing its job, and now you go to this org and they say, okay, well, if you're gonna be a creator, here's the expectations, and I think that speaks directly to why you have grown at the pace that you have grown. Are they? And I don't need specifics, but this is an important question that people ask. Are you being compensated?
No, I'm not. And they
No.
don't ask for any of your earnings either. However, some
Okay.
teams will, some stream teams will, some esports organizations will. However, Osiris Gaming does not. No, I don't get compensated, and
Okay.
they don't ask anything of me either.
Okay.
Or for their
right.
promotion of me.
Right, and that's an interesting conversation. I don't know what process you went through, what kind of agreements that you have in place, but there are stream teams and content. Right. There are definitely stream teams and content teams that will send you a physical contract of, here are the terms. You will provide, like you said, 5 videos a week across various channels. The organization, the group will provide you with support for graphics or whatever, a promotion. You in return, all the subs and donos you get in a 30-day period, you give, 10%, 20% back to the org for this support. Those things do exist. And if you if you go on YouTube, you can find video upon video about some of these contracts being very, very predatory. And so it behooves us as creators to read every line in a contract, not just read, one or two paragraphs, but understand the whole thing. So what sort of advice would you give to somebody on the growth path that you're on as well, when they're like, I'd like to be part of a content team / stream team. I'm not sure how to approach it. I'm not sure what to expect. I'm kind of, freaked out. Don't know who to talk to.
So it would be, first of all, like, the question needs to be asked, and ask yourself, like, why do you want to be on a team?
Right.
What, like, is it for somewhere to belong? Is it something to be a part of? Is it, to get your name out there, branch out, network, all the above? Like that's what you need to ask yourself, and you go from there. Early on, people do, but you don't need to worry about being a part of these esports organizations. Don't need to worry about being part of a stream team or anything. You need to be you. And as long as you can be you, then every decision that's made is going to be about you. And, not to the point of you thinking that you are the bee's knees and you are, you're the only one that matters, because there's a million other people all trying to do this at the same time as you, and all trying to weave through that traffic, as we said before. You need to be you. You need to say, I can bring this to the table. But you also need to know what is expected of you if you do want to join a team, if you do want to rep a brand, if you do want to have somewhere to belong, if you want to network. You need to know what's expected of you and have the proper etiquette, the proper, mannerisms, respect.
Right.
And, not think you're the bee's knees. But you get on and you read everything. You completely understand all that is expected of both parties.
Right.
And you go from there.
So I like what you said about be you, and I think that lesson comes with age and experience. There are a lot of people on Twitch who are in that process of, what am I? What is my what is my story? What is my brand? Why do people care? And sometimes when people say, they don't understand why they're at this point that they are, they're just here. I don't know if that's playing the game or if they truly don't understand of, who am I? What do I present as a person? Because I give off a completely different vibe than you do. And I know that, and that's okay. Your vibe is completely different than Burgeon's, who's a member of our clan. Completely different vibe, and that's okay. But you have to be aware of, what is my brand? Who am I as a person? How do I project that? And so some people see some people see the gold, see the brass ring of getting on a team, and then they don't understand the expectations. They don't have the maturity of, when they're mad and they want to go to Twitter, and some people don't have the maturity to take 5 seconds and go, is that really what I wanted to say right now in this moment? Yeah. Okay. And I think that it's in the end, this is about you, and being selfish is not a bad thing, because you have a family, you have a baby on the way. What was your motivation? Your motivation. Nobody else matters in this question. What was your motivation behind joining Osiris?
So obviously straight away you want to be upfront, you want to be transparent, you want them to know everything, because if you don't tell the full story and it comes out later on, that can cause issues with many different variables in play. So, of course I'm there and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have a kid in September. They're gonna be I don't yet comprehend the full attention and everything that is going to involve. Like, no one knows what the fuck they're in for until it happens. Right. So you can try and prepare as much as you can. But I said, like, I may have to take either a break or step back, and they were completely okay with it.
Okay.
So they, whether at stepping back and going down from content creator, which all this is expected of you, to the stream team, which is just just streaming and like 3 days a week,
right?
Is one of the requirements. And then you have whether it's just leaving Osiris or just taking a break and taking a hiatus. They said they completely understand that, and they're not monsters, they're human as well. Everyone has these things. So once that was said, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Because some teams will be like, okay, well, no, we actually need you to do this. We need you to keep up with this.
Right.
So it's one of those things you need to be transparent. You need to have the understanding. They need to have the understanding, and everyone's on board. So for me, once that was understood from both parties, it was kind of like, okay, cool. So I can either have a few months, and help them and they help me, and just be part of this awesome kick-ass group of people.
Right.
And then we'll see how it goes from there. But for me, as long as they'll have me in whatever capacity, I'll be there, because they are a good group of people. If you're talking about like other people not going for this particular group, or being in a similar group or completely different group where there's all these other different expectations, that is up to you at that point to put everything on the table and explain, and not have any hidden agenda. So
and that's important. I think that a lot of the misunderstandings in gaming, in the streaming business, in esports, come from lack of understanding of the expectations. I mean, managing expectations in your personal and professional life will bring you a lot more peace a lot faster than just doing whatever you feel like. And that speaks directly to your maturity. I mean, you went through this one time as a streamer, left a bit, came back, and you're like, hey, I know this part of the game. I understand what it takes to be in this business, and it is a business, because the goal at some point is a monetization. I'm sure your spouse would be thrilled to know that you're going to go to work at home, maybe for 5-6 hours stream, make a little content, and you're going to be home every single day to help with the kid. I'm sure that's important, right?
That comes down to like a more of a sort of personal arrangement I've got with the missus at the moment.
Right.
To do this full time currently, whilst I wait for work to resume. My career was affected, and my profession was affected by COVID. It is probably one of the biggest industries hit, and it was basically just completely wiped out.
Wow.
So waiting for that to resume, and I'm now starting to see things pop up, and things are popping up for me to apply for and hopefully get back into the industry. And that will all depend. But you know, it was one thing. And if I had have been maybe a bit further along and the money that was coming in from doing this full time was, you know, paying the bills and paying the rent every month, then yes, it would be something I could continue. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's not going to be something I can continue.
Okay.
It is, I had a really good month a couple of months ago, which did pay the bills and paid the rent. Had a really good month, and that was a month of subathon where I did 24 hours, and that was literally on it. And this is another thing which I'd like to offer some advice.
Sure.
It's all about timing, and where we said about, you know, saying earlier about driving through and finding your parking spot, it's about timing, okay? And you set yourself up at the beginning of the month for all this stuff to happen, and you plan and you network and you get things in, and it's, you either get lucky or you don't. And there's definitely been times where I've been lucky, I've been right place, right time, and or you know, I've missed out on an opportunity because I wasn't there. It's not the same experience is going to be for everyone, and you got to get lucky, and you got to get lucky with your timing. So you know, and I got really lucky at the beginning of the month, and that set everything else up. Instead of the bar being down here, straight away the bar went past that at the beginning of the month, and that therefore extended the bar even further. So, you know, that's making yourself, you know, sorting out your timing. Unfortunately, like I think everyone's feeling at the moment with the world going back to normal, or returning to some sort of normality. Everyone's feeling it. There's actually been a drop on Twitch, and like people being on their phones and watching videos, and you know, the amount of views, the amount of follows, the amount of likes people are getting. It's all dropping down unless you're someone already from medium to top. And I still see myself as like, you know, not at the bottom, but not far away from the bottom, and I could return to the bottom at any point. And I see myself there, and you got these people there in the middle and at the top, and if you're not there, and even those people are feeling it, but if you're not there, then you, unfortunately at the moment, there's not much of an opportunity to grow. If anything, there's a very strong chance for you to drop further at the moment. As bad as that sounds, that's the way the last 2 months have gone.
See, and okay, that brings up a really interesting point that I don't think a lot of people want to face. They kind of know it's in the back of their head, but they don't want to face the fact that they still have to have a place to live, and they have to buy food, and they have to do things in real life. And being a full-time content creator is a long slog. I can tell you, I have been doing various iterations of this podcast for going on 3.5 years, and it's a drain on time that takes away from family, takes away from things that you can do in real life. What would need to happen for you personally, for you to go, I love this, I love Twitch, I love my community, but I have to leave?
So for good, for temporary.
I mean, you have a major life change coming in about 2.5 months. You have one of the biggest life changes you will ever have. It's going to happen. You're going to have a kid. Everything about your life is now going to shift, and it's starting a family is harder than starting your career as a content creator. It's harder. There's more expectations. There's
for sure,
there's a lot of personal feelings you're going to go through. It's like, I have this tiny helpless human that I'm now directly responsible for 27 or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I guess what needs to those shifts in emotion force you to reevaluate your priorities. And so I guess what would need to happen for you to go, Twitch isn't a priority for me as it was in the past. Yes, I'll still probably go back maybe, a couple times a week and hang out with my friends, but now I actually have to make money because I have to think about the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And this is just one kid. What if you have more? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's the answer right there. That is legit the answer. Is the ankle biter coming along. And you know, your priorities will shift. I will have to return and shortly return to you know, a real life job in
Right.
real life physically. And you know, not that I'm saying that being a content creator isn't, because from here to hell and back, it is.
Right.
But it's, you know, something that is more secure, and you know, go to every day. That's what I'm going to need to do for the foreseeable. And you know, that's the reason. That's literally the reason. If I didn't have the ankle biter coming along, not that by any means don't want that to happen, because you know, this has happened for a reason.
Right.
You know, if things were different, then it would be, you know, moving along with this and staying on Twitch, and you know, just continually hoping. I say hoping because you never know, and hoping that, you know, you're still saying people's good books and continue to grow. That would be, you know, what would be happening if he wasn't coming along. And you know, at the moment, that is the reason why I would be stepping back.
And then there's also the person that we've mentioned, your spouse, your child's mom. You are now directly responsible to her, and you know, and it seems like all of the people that I have interviewed here who talk about their streaming growth and talk about how they enjoy it have a supportive partner who's like, if you're enjoying yourself, that's fine. Here are my expectations, and you talk about it. You're a partner. So I guess my question is, what are the conversations like with her?
Yeah, for someone that isn't a part of the online world, really, she, you know, where they say opposites attract, and people are like, that doesn't really exist. No, it does.
It does. Okay.
My wife is a couple years older than me. She's more sort of grounded. I'm still quite airy. I'm still in the air, in the wind, in some respects. However, I do like the ground beneath my feet. You know, she's not a gamer. She's not down with the lingo that you and I would say to each other on in game, and you know, the abbreviations and the stupid words we say and the humor. So she's not in on this world. So for someone in her position who, you know, works actually quite closely with communities in developing countries, and you know, hates the idea of us exploring space because, you know, we don't need the resources out there. We need to focus on our planet. That's just the idea of my wife. And you know, she is one to obviously have troubles with understanding things in the past, but considering all that, has been very supportive of me as of late in pursuing this. And I was let go of my COVID job back in March. So I was actually working, and I took whatever work I could find throughout the pandemic. Whereas I was like an events coordinator pre-COVID and the specialist and health and safety officer. I've stepped. I can't get that work, so I've had to work at supermarkets. I've had to work in warehouses, just to pay the bills. So, you know, for me to step back and stay in my room all day and stream and make videos and laugh, and you know, it's been something for her to sort of understand, like, and come to terms with. And there's been a lot of talks and a lot of long conversations to make sure we're both on the same page and what the expectations are. So, you know, if you were to ever go through and pursue this, you need to first make sure that your partner is on board and everything is shared. Nothing is you know, hidden, but you know, also she doesn't want to hear about the silly thing I did on Destiny today and this glitch happened. She doesn't need to hear that.
No.
However, she does need to know how well you're doing at work. It is your job. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it sounds, Bona. It sounds to me like you're a pretty fortunate guy. You have somebody in your life who, while she probably never completely understand what you do and why the hell you say these weird words, like I get the same thing from my wife too. She'd be like, What the hell did you just say? I'm like, well, I could either take 20 minutes and explain the entire context, or we can just talk about it later. How's that? She goes, I don't have 20 minutes. I go, neither do I. But it sounds to me like you're a very fortunate guy. And this whole conversation, I think it's important for people to note. I mean, we're on this path, we're on this journey, and we're at various stages. I have 4 grown kids and a granddaughter. You're just starting a family and different experiences and realizing the path. There is no magical wand you can wave and it's all magically better. It doesn't. Life does not work that way. And I'm very fortunate to have you on my podcast, Bona. So thank you for making time for me today, man. I appreciate it.
No, Bill. Thank you for asking me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and chat about it. Like, just some of these things you're asking, I'm just like, it's self-reflection in a way.
Right.
It's being reminded, like, what you've been through and where you come, where you've got to go, and just grounding you. So thank you, babe.
You got it. Everybody, you can see on the overlay right there, you can see BonaFideHiro, twitch.tv/BonaFideHiro. And make sure you spell it correctly when you type it in. It's HIRO, not HERO. His Twitter handle is right there, at BonaFideHiro. Check out Osiris Gaming. I believe it's at BOsiris Gaming.
Correct. Yep.
At
BOsiris Gaming. Yeah.
At BOsiris Gaming on Twitter. Check them out. I actually went to the website to kind of look at the squad and look at the team. And I want your owner/CEO on my podcast, because I think she would also have an interesting story. So if you could kind of set me up, I'd sort of appreciate that, sir. Anyway, thanks for joining me today, everybody. Please do like, share, subscribe, check out BonaFideHiro. I like Bona. We've run together on some Destiny 2 raids and Nightfalls before. I'm proud to say that I'm a fan of his. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Please, like I said, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.
Thank you for tuning in today. You can find links to everyone on the show in the description below. Check out Bill the Conqueror on Twitch and Twitter to stay up to date on his thoughts and ideas about gaming culture.